one note, the average voltage or average current. In the previous class we have studied the average value of voltage or current over one complete cycle is 0, because for every value in the positive half cycle at a given interval of time, there is a corresponding value in the negative half cycle. If you add them, they algebraically get cancels. But we can work out the average value of voltage and current for a half of a cycle. Not taking the full cycle, if we take only the half of a cycle, then the average value of voltage and current can be worked out. Now, that is not given in the NCERT textbook, but it can be helpful for solving some competitive examination questions. The average value of voltage or current, so is given by the relation 2 by pi into the peak value of the voltage. In case of current, it is 2 by pi into peak value of the current. It requires some integration part, that is average of a function. It is equal to 1 by t integral of that function with respect to dt. If you work out on that basis, you will get average value of the voltage and average value of the current is given by this relation. Now this is calculated with respect to only a half of a cycle. Remember it. Now 2 by pi, it comes around 0.637 Vm, or this is 0.637 Im current. Now that means 63.7% of the peak value corresponds to the average value of the voltage as well as current. 63.7%. That represents average value, peak value, average value. Now if I represent here, this is V average, it is 63.7%. That is the average value for a half of a cycle. And also yesterday we have worked out, in the previous class we have worked out the RMS value. It is little bit higher of that one, that is 70.7% of the peak value. 63.7% corresponds to average value of voltage and current for half of the cycle, not the full cycle. And similarly 70.7% it corresponds to RMS value of the voltage and the current. That thing should be remembered. Next we study an AC source applied to an inductor. In the previous class we have studied an AC is applied to a resistor. In that we have observed that the voltage and the current, AC voltage and current, they are in phase. The phase vectors are rotating simultaneously without any lag or leading between them. They are in phase, and the phase angle in the case of a pure resistive circuit is 0, that we have studied in the previous class. Now here we have an inductor. What is an inductor? It is a coil having negligible resistance. If it has a negligible resistance, then it is called a pure inductor. Now a pure inductor of self-inductance L is connected to a AC source of instantaneous voltage V is equal to Vm into sine omega t. Call this as equation 1. Now we have an AC source which is applied to an inductor as shown in the circuit diagram. Now here V is the instantaneous value. What is the meaning of instantaneous? It is the value of the voltage at any instant of time. Because this voltage or the current is going to change at regular interval of time its direction. Okay, because of that one it is not constant. Since voltage is not constant, we are working with instantaneous. It is the value of the voltage at any given instant of time. Okay, then obviously in this equation we have Vm, that one we have called it as maximum value or peak voltage. Peak value, maximum value or amplitude of the AC voltage. And omega is the angular frequency it is the angular frequency that we have studied. As and when the AC voltage is applied across the inductance, obviously current flows. Here in this case, current is changing its direction. One time, in one moment it starts flowing from top to bottom. In the next moment, it is changing its direction from bottom to the top, like that. As and when the current flows through that inductance, L or the coil, we have studied in the previous chapter, there is a Faraday's induced EMF is developed inside that coil. The EMF induced in that coil is given by, that we have studied, is minus L into di by dt. If I is the current flowing through that coil and L is the self-inductance of the coil, then the EMF induced according to Faraday's law is given by E is equal to minus L into di by dt. Now our aim is, we have to calculate what is the expression for instantaneous current in that circuit. Now that can be worked out by using Kirchhoff loop rule. By applying Kirchhoff loop rule, the algebraic sum of the EMFs are IR drops, algebraic sum of EMF, and if there we are having an IR drop, that should be is equal to 0. So here we are having one is the AC supply voltage V minus another one is the induced EMF, actually it is plus, the algebraic sum it should be 0. Now V is, that is Vm sin omega t. Now this is Faraday's induced EMF. The Faraday's induced EMF that we have minus L into di by dt, that should be is equal to 0. Why we are getting negative sign? That is according to Lenz's law. According to Lenz's law, the polarity of the induced EMF is such that it produces the current which opposes the change in magnetic flux that produces the current that we have studied. According to Lenz's law, we are having a negative sign. Now just to rearrange the terms, so I am getting di by dt is equal to, if I rearrange the terms, Vm divided by L into sine of omega t. Now here the voltage is a sine function. Therefore di by dt, it represents a slope. Therefore slope is also a sine function, it is not at all a constant. Now I am in need of current, okay. Therefore di by dt, let me change here, since we are having AC, let me write a small amount of small current, small letter I, that is better thing, I, since we are using AC, okay. Therefore di is equal to Vm by L into sine of omega t into dt we are getting. Now I want the current I. Now integrating on both sides. So integral of di is equal to integral of Vm by L into sine omega t into dt. Now integral of di becomes, it is the instantaneous current I that we are represented by the small letter. Now Vm, it is the peak value, and L is the self-inductance, both are constant. We are keeping it aside. Now integration of sine, we are familiar with trigonometry. Integration of sine is minus cos omega t. Integration of sine theta with respect to theta or sine omega t with respect to dt is minus cos omega t. And also it is a chain function. So here we are having omega t. Therefore we have to integrate omega t also. The integral of omega t becomes divided by omega. Integral of omega t with respect to t, it becomes omega plus some constant, integral constant. So just rearrange the terms. Now, I is equal to Vm divided by omega L into minus cos omega t plus some constant of integration. Now this constant, it has the dimension of current, but it is independent of time. The instantaneous voltage is depending on the time. The instantaneous current is also depending on the time, and hence since both are depending on the time, this constant, it should be taken as 0 because it is independent. Since C is independent of time, therefore the constant of integration is taken as 0. Therefore I will get Vm divided by omega L into minus of cos omega t. Now I will replace this Vm divided by omega L by the peak value of the current. Let me introduce that concept. Peak value of the current, Im. Now minus of cos omega t, it can be written in terms of sine as sine omega t minus pi by 2. That is minus cos theta can be written as sine pi by 2 theta minus pi by 2. Theta minus of cos theta is equal to sine of theta minus pi by 2. In that identity, we are writing minus of cos omega t as sine of omega t minus pi by 2. Now here, what is Im? Therefore here Im is the peak value of the current that is given by Vm divided by omega into L. It is peak value of the current. Peak value of the current. Now let me call this as equation 2. Now we have the instantaneous voltage V is equal to Vm into sine omega t, equation 1. The instantaneous current we have obtained with these mathematical steps. I is equal to Im into sine of omega t minus pi by 2. So now here the peak value of current, it is Vm divided by omega L. Now we are having one more term in the denominator, omega L. Now this omega L plays the same role as the resistor plays in resistive circuit. This term omega L, it plays the same role, that means it opposes the current as opposed by the resistor in a resistive circuit. For that purpose, this omega L term is called as inductive reactance. Now we are having a new term, reactance. Reactance is the opposition to the flow of AC current through an inductor or the capacitor, whatever it may be. If you are using an inductor, then the opposition to the flow of AC is called inductive reactance. If we are using a capacitor, then the opposition to the flow of AC through that capacitor is called as capacitive reactance. And this reactance, inductive reactance, is denoted by X into L, and that should be is equal to omega into L. This is the new concept you should remember. Now it is the opposition to the flow of AC through the inductor. Now this inductive reactance, it has the same SI unit as that of the resistance, that is ohm. It has the same dimension as well as the SI unit, that is ohm. So therefore that inductive reactance, if I write this one as 2 pi nu into L, therefore inductive reactance is directly proportional to the frequency and directly proportional to the inductance of the coil. If the frequency goes on increases, the inductive reactance also goes on increases. It has a linear dependence. If I plot a graph, simple graph between the frequency nu and the inductive reactance XL, since it is linearly dependent on the frequency, the graph should be a straight line, linear line. So remember this graph. They may ask for 1 marks in competitive examination point of view. Okay, that is inductive reactance. Now here, look at the equation 1 and 2. From 1 and 2, we observe that here also we are having a sine function, here is also sine function. But the current equation is having minus pi by 2. That indicates that whenever AC is applied to an inductive circuit, the current is lagging behind. Since it is minus pi by 2, current lags the voltage. Therefore, I lags the voltage. By how much? It is pi by 2. Or in terms of period, it is T by 4 or 1/4 of a cycle. Current is lagging behind. Current ಹಿಂದಿದಾನೆ, ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ AC ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ ಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬೀಳ್ತಾ. ಯಾಕೆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬೀಳ್ತಾ ಹೇಳಿ? ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ EMF ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಇಂಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ EMF ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಲೀಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಲ್ಯಾಗ್ಸ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್. ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ಅದರ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್, ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ the current. ಹಾಗೂ ಹೇಳ್ತರು ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ದ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಒಂದೇ, ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಂದಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಹೇಳೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಲ್ಯಾಗ್ಸ್ ದ ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್. ಎಷ್ಟು? ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, pi by 2 ರೇಡಿಯನ್ಸ್. ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ T by 4 or 1/4 of a cycle. Therefore obviously there is, what is the phase angle? Phase angle is 90 degree. Pi by 2 is the phase angle. Now we will represent it graphically. Now let me write here the graph for voltage and current. We have, this is the voltage, or on the y-axis we are writing both voltage and current, and the x-axis we are having omega t term. Okay, now mark 4 points of equal distance. Now first point is pi by 2, 90 degree. Second point is pi, 180 degree. Third point is 3 pi by 2, that is 270 degree. And fourth point is 2 pi, 360 degree. Clear? Now let me write first voltage. Since we have instantaneous voltage, we have already applied. It reaches peak value at 90 degree and reduces to 0 at 180 degree and reaches negative maximum at 270 degree and reduces to 0 at 360 degree, and this cycle continues. Now this is the sine wave pattern of voltage, instantaneous voltage V. Similarly, we have to write the corresponding current. Now as the voltage is at 0, current should be lagging behind. How much? 90 degree. So 90 degree means initially the current should be at negative maximum. Now the current, it is lagging behind, it is negative maximum initially. As and when the voltage reaches positive maximum, now the current is coming in the backward. Now it reaches 0. As and when the voltage is decreasing from the positive maximum, the current is increasing slowly and reaches a maximum. As and when the voltage is 0, the current is positive maximum. As the voltage increases in the negative axis and reaches a maximum, now the current reduces to 0. As current is 0, the voltage is negative maximum here. Now the current increases in the negative direction. As and when it reaches a maximum, the voltage reduces to 0. That means there is a 90 degree phase difference between the voltage and the current. Now voltage is moving, voltage is leading the current, or current lags behind the voltage. These two words you should remember. Voltage leads the current by pi by 2 or 1/4 of a cycle, or current lags the voltage by pi by 2 or 1/4 of a cycle. Now that is graphically represented like that. Now one thing you should remember, voltage peak is greater than that of the current peak. Why? Because of the presence of an inductive reactance here. Inductive reactance because of that presence. Now we will work out the power dissipation in the case of inductive circuit. As we have studied, the instantaneous power is given by, it is the product of instantaneous voltage and instantaneous current. Now instantaneous voltage we know that is Vm sin omega t. Instantaneous current that we have derived, it is Im sin omega t minus pi by 2. Okay. Therefore, Vm into Im sin omega t. What is sin omega t minus pi by 2? It is minus cos omega t. It is the product minus cos omega t. Now this expression can be further written as minus is taken outside here, minus Vm Im sin omega t into cos omega t. We have an identity. What is that one? Sin 2 theta is equal to 2 sin theta into cos theta. That identity we know in trigonometry. So therefore sin omega t into cos omega t can be written as half of sin 2 omega t. It is half of sin 2 omega t. Now this is the instantaneous power in the case of an inductive circuit. Now we have to calculate what is the average power over one complete cycle. Okay. Therefore, average power in one cycle is bar P is equal to, we use this notation, minus Vm Im half sin 2 omega t. Okay. So bar P is equal to minus of half Vm Im is constant here, minus Vm Im by 2 is constant. The only variable is sin 2 omega t. Now in the previous class we have worked out what is the average. How can you work out the average of this one? We know that if we have a function f of t, then the average of this function It is 1 upon t integral from 0 to t of f of t with respect to dt, with respect to the time. With this one, we will work out sine of 2 omega t. If you work out and simplify and calculation, you will get the average of sine function. Since it contains both the positive values and negative value, the average of the sine function in one complete cycle is always 0. It becomes 0. Therefore, we will get P average is equal to average of this function is 0, and hence the power dissipation, average power dissipation in the case of pure inductive circuit is 0. This is because average of sine 2 omega t over one complete cycle is 0. Now look here, we have an instantaneous voltage and instantaneous current flowing through that coil. But what is the power dissipation here? If it is a pure inductive circuit, the power dissipation is 0. There is no power dissipation. Now this can be understood by using this simple example. If you have an incandescent bulb, a 100-watt or 60-watt bulb, and we have a fluorescent bulb like a tube light or LED. Now which consumes more power and which consumes less power? So since the electric bulb is having a tungsten wire, it has a high resistance, so therefore it is resistive. Obviously, there is a more power consumption. So, but in the case of a tube light, we are having a choke. That choke is nothing but an inductive circuit. The choke is nothing but an inductive circuit. Therefore, that the tube light consumes lesser power. It is not an ideal inductive circuit. Choke is not an ideal inductive circuit. Since it is using a wire as a coil, that wire has a little bit of a small amount of resistance. Therefore, it also consumes a small amount of power. But if you take a pure inductive circuit, in that case, the power consumption is 0. Since the power consumption is 0, even though there is a current flowing, then that current we call it as wattless current. That we will study later onwards. Wattless current. What is that current? In the case of a pure inductive circuit, or even in the case of a pure capacitive circuit, even though there is a AC current flowing, the average power dissipation over one complete cycle is 0, and that current is called wattless current. Nothing you should remember. And RMS value, peak value, we have studied in the previous class. The same thing holds good here also. RMS value and peak value. RMS value of the current as well as voltage. Now we will write the phasor diagram for this circuit. Now here we have voltage leads the current. Voltage is 90° ahead of it. With this one we are going to write the phasor diagram. If I take any particular value of omega t at this point omega t, we have an voltage vector here. We have the voltage phasor. Now here we have a current phasor. Now if I draw the coordinate axis here, okay. Now this is voltage phasor. Now this voltage phasor is represented like this, vector V, that is voltage phasor. It is 90° ahead, it is leading the current. Now current phasor is here. Current phasor is here. Okay. current phasor. Now this amplitude here, this is the I is equal to Im sin omega t minus pi by 2. That gives the instantaneous current. Now this represents the instantaneous voltage, that is V is equal to Vm sin omega t. Okay. Now this is the phasor diagram, and this is the graph of current and voltage with respect to versus omega t, or you can write the graph with respect to the time period. We will work out one problem. A pure inductor of 25 millihenry is connected to a source of 220 volts. Find the inductive reactance and RMS current in the circuit if the frequency of the source is 50 Hertz. The solution. Now, given the inductance, inductor is having an inductance of 25.0, it is millihenry, or 25.0 into 10 to the power of minus 3 Henry. That is given. It is connected to a source of 220 volts. Here 220 volts, it is RMS value. You remember, in case of AC, the voltage and currents are given in RMS values. The VRMS is 220 volts. Find the inductive reactance and the RMS current, that we have to find out when the frequency of AC is 50 Hertz, 50 cycles per second, that is given. We have to work out inductive reactance, that is XL, and RMS value of current we have to work out. Okay. We know that the inductive reactance XL is given by omega into L, or that is equal to 2 pi nu into L. Nu is the frequency. That is 2 into 3.14 into 50 into 25 into 10 raised to minus 3. Okay. Now, if you take the calculator and work out, 50 into 2 is 100, then it is 10 raised to minus 1. Therefore, 25 into 3.14 is equal to 78.5. 50 into 2, 100, that is 10 raised to plus 2, that is 10 raised to minus 1, or XL is equal to 7.85 ohms. The inductive reactance opposition to the flow of AC in the case of an inductive circuit is called inductive reactance. It is 7.85 ohms. Next, we have to calculate IRMS. RMS value of current is equal to VRMS, that is given, divided by XL, that we have just calculated. Now VRMS is 220 and XL just now we have calculated. Therefore 220 divided by 7.85, I am getting 28. It is 28 amps of current is flowing through that circuit or the inductor. Now we will study AC voltage applied to a capacitor. Now we have a circuit, AC circuit, which contains an AC source and only a capacitor. Assume that it is a pure capacitor. Now in the previous classes we have studied whenever DC is applied across a capacitor. Whenever DC source is applied, the capacitor gets charges. To that extent, the current flows. As the capacitor gets fully charged, then current suddenly stops. That we know in the case of DC. Now what happens in the case of AC? Now here, as the positive half cycle is flowing, the capacitor gets charged in one direction. In the next half cycle, the current direction is reversed. Therefore, the capacitor gets discharged or it is charging in the opposite direction. So, in one complete cycle, the capacitor gets charged and discharged. Charging and discharging of capacitor continuously it takes place. Now we will work out what is the expression for instantaneous current whenever AC voltage is applied to a capacitor. Now circuit diagram is as shown in the figure. Now we have an instantaneous voltage V is applied across the capacitor and is given by V is equal to Vm sin omega t, where V is the instantaneous value of the voltage. Now call this as equation 1. Now here we have Vm. What is Vm? It is the peak voltage, peak value or maximum value, or it is the amplitude of the AC voltage. Omega, it is the angular frequency. Angular frequency. Now it is applied across the capacitor. Now here we have an EMF here. Whatever the voltage we have applied, the same voltage is appeared across the capacitor. In order to obtain the expression for the current, we are going to make use of Kirchhoff loop rule. By applying Kirchhoff loop rule, we will get the EMF applied is equal to the voltage across the capacitor. Voltage across the capacitor. Okay. Now EMF applied is Vm sin omega t. Now in the previous classes we have studied that the capacitance is given by charge divided by voltage, Q by V, that we have studied. So therefore what is voltage? Therefore voltage is equal to Q by C, where C is the capacitance of the capacitor. Now therefore if you substitute that one, Vc is the voltage across the capacitor, that is replaced by charge divided by the capacitance of the capacitor. Therefore the charge in the capacitor is given by Q is equal to Vm into C sin omega t. We have got the expression for the charge. What is our aim? I have to work out what is the expression for current. Once you know the charge, we can easily find the current, that is current is equal to rate of flow of charges. The rate of flow of charges gives the current, that means I is equal to dq by dt. That means if you differentiate this expression with respect to the time, you will get the expression for the current. Therefore, it is d by dt of Vmc sin omega t. Okay. Now Vm, peak value of the voltage, C, capacitance, both are constant. If you take them out, so therefore I is equal to Vmc. Now derivative of sin theta. Derivative of sin function is, it is cos omega t. Derivative of sin function is cos omega t, and derivative of omega into t, it is omega. If you do the derivative, you will get this answer. Now rearrange the terms. Now I is equal to Vm omega c into cos omega t. Now rearranging the terms, I will get I is equal to Vm divided by 1 upon omega c. I am getting 1 upon omega c. Now cos of omega t, it can be written as sine omega t plus phi by 2. Sin 90 plus theta is cos theta. In that identity we are writing sine of cos of omega t as sine of omega t plus phi by 2, or I will write this one as this is Vm, this denominator term which is opposing the flow of current in that capacitive circuit. Therefore, it is written as Xc and it is called as capacitive reactance. It is called as capacitive reactance into sine of omega t plus pi by 2. I will replace this term. Therefore, I is equal to Im. Im is the peak value of the current sine omega t plus pi by 2. Now, this is the expression for instantaneous current whenever AC is applied to a pure capacitive circuit. Now, here we have made the substitution. Now, Xc is equal to 1 upon omega c, or that is equal to 1 upon 2 pi nu c is called capacitive reactance. Capacitive reactance, opposition to the flow of AC by the capacitor, that is called capacitive reactance, and it is given by Xc is equal to 1 upon omega c, R is equal to 1 by 2 pi nu c. Its SI unit is once again the same, it is ohms. Now look here, in the previous, the inductive reactance is directly proportional to the frequency and directly proportional to the inductance. But here, the capacitive reactance is inversely proportional to the frequency. It is inversely proportional to the frequency and inversely proportional to the capacitance. If you plot a graph, frequency versus capacitive reactance, you will get a curve like this, decreasing curve. It is a decreasing curve, you will get that one. Okay. Now look at the expression 1 and 2. From equations 1 and 2, we find that here the voltage is V is equal to Vm into sine omega t. The current is I is equal to Im into sine of omega t plus pi by 2. In the previous we have got minus pi by 2, here we are getting plus pi by 2. That means in a capacitive circuit, current leads the voltage. Current mundirtane, voltage hindirtane, or voltage lags the current by how much? Pi by 2. Therefore, from 1 and 2, we get current leads. It is ahead the voltage by pi by 2, 90 degree, or t by 4, that is 1/4 of a cycle. Current mundirtane, capacitive case alli current mundirtane, ಅಥವಾ in other words ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಹಿಂದಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಲ್ಯಾಗ್ಸ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಲ್ಯಾಗ್ಸ್ ದ ಕರೆಂಟ್. ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜು ಕರೆಂಟ್ ನ ಹಿಂದಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಎಷ್ಟು? pi by 2 ಆರ್ t by 4, 1/4 ಆಫ್ ಎ ಸೈಕಲ್ ಅಂತಂದೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಗ್ರಾಫಿಕಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ತೋರಿಸಬಹುದು ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, so graphically we can show like this. So V and I, this is omega t, we have 4 points. This is pi by 2 and this one is pi, this is 3 pi by 2 and this one is 2 pi. Okay, now first let me write the voltage. Now from 0, the voltage reaches maximum at pi by 2 and reduces to 0 at pi, reduces to negative maximum at 3 pi by 2 and reduces to 0 at 2 pi, and that cycle continues. It is a voltage curve, voltage graph. Now, since here the current is having sine of omega t plus pi by 2, initially current is at maximum value, positive maximum. Current is at positive maximum. Now, as the voltage starts to increase, the current is decreasing. As voltage reaches positive maximum, the current which is already positive maximum, it reduces to 0. As voltage decreases, the current increases in the negative direction. As voltage becomes 0, the current becomes negative maximum. Now voltage is lagging, now current is leading, current is ahead. Now as current reduces to 0, the voltage is just now reaching a negative maximum. Already current has reached negative maximum and it reduces to 0. Now voltage is just now reaching the negative maximum value. Now as the voltage starts to decrease, the current starts to increase in the forward direction. Now this is what we have, a current curve which is leading the voltage curve. Current curve voltage curve na lead madidane. That is the graph of current and voltage versus omega t. Now work out the power dissipation here also. The instantaneous power is given by the instantaneous voltage multiplied by the instantaneous current. Now instantaneous voltage is Vm sin omega t, and instantaneous current just now we have derived, it is Im sin omega t plus pi by 2. So simply rearrange the terms. Vm Im sin omega t. What is sin omega t plus pi by 2? It is cos omega t. Now let me use the trigonometric function, that is sin 2 theta is equal to 2 sin theta into cos theta. From that one, what is sin theta into cos theta becomes? It is half of sin 2 theta we are getting. Now using that identity, we can write here it as Vm Im into half of sin 2 omega t. That much we are getting. This is the instantaneous power. Now we have to work out average power over one complete cycle. That is average power over one complete cycle, it is bar P is equal to, we use this notation for averaging, Vm Im by 2 into sine of 2 omega t. Now this equation. Now Vm Im by 2, it is a constant term. So Vm Im by 2. The average of this trigonometric function, that is sine 2 omega t. We are already familiar with that one. The average of sine function or cos function over one complete cycle is always 0. Therefore, average power is Vm Im by 2 into 0. Therefore, average power dissipation in the case of a pure capacitive circuit is also 0. The power dissipation is also here 0. Like that we can show that. So therefore, whenever an AC is applied to a pure capacitive circuit, the phase angle between the voltage, instantaneous voltage, and the current is pi by 2. Who is leading? current leads the voltage. ಅರ್ಥ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸಿ ಅನ್ನ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ, ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಹಿಂದಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದೇ ಇಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ ಕೇಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಎಸಿ ಅನ್ನ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದೇ ನೀವು ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟಿವ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೋಲ್ಟೇಜು ಕರೆಂಟು ಸೈಮಲ್ಟೇನಿಯಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. Now let me write the phasor diagram for this one. For that one, if I take a time interval omega t1 and writing the corresponding current phasor and the voltage phasor. Now this represents the current phasor. Now this one is representing the voltage phasor. Okay, so if I write here the coordinate axis, okay, now here the current is leading. If I first, let me write the voltage first here. Now voltage is here. Now that represents the voltage phasor. That is the voltage phasor, capital V. Now current is leading by 90 degree. Now current is leading by 90 degree. Therefore this represents the current phasor. This is the phasor diagram. Okay. Now this length or this amplitude represents the instantaneous value of the current. I is equal to Im into sine of omega t plus pi by 2. Current is leading. Now here this length represents the instantaneous voltage. V is equal to Vm into sine of omega t. Now this is the phasor diagram representation. It is the graph of voltage and current versus omega t. We will work out a problem. A lamp is connected in series with a capacitor. Predict your observations for DC and AC sources. What happens in each case if the capacitance of the capacitor is reduced? We have a lamp. It is connected in series with the capacitor as shown in the diagram. In the first diagram, a DC source is applied. In the second diagram, an AC source is applied. Okay. Now let me study the first case, a DC source. As and when the DC source is connected, the current starts to flow in the circuit. Now the lamp glows. Initially, lamp glows. Current flows in the circuit, therefore lamp glows, and this current charges the capacitor. That is the first step. Current flows, therefore bulb glows, and the capacitor gets charging. Once the capacitor is fully charged, when capacitor becomes fully charged, then current stops. Bulb will not glow now. When the capacitor gets fully charged, the current will not flow through the circuit, and hence bulb is or the lamp is in off position. It will not glow. It is in off position. Now in this situation, if I increase the capacitor or decrease the capacitor, nothing will happen. Bulb is in or lamp is in off position, or it will not glow because the current stops when the capacitor gets fully charged. That is in the case of DC. Now what will happen in the case of AC? As and when the AC source is applied, since AC is a voltage or the current whose direction is repeatedly changing, periodically changing, the capacitor charges, discharges, charges, discharges, charges, discharges, that is going to take place. And since the current is flowing in the circuit, current flows, therefore lamp glows. It is in on position. Here the capacitor is not at all fully charging because it is AC, therefore it charges, discharges, charges, discharges, charges, discharges continuously, and hence there is a continuous flow of current in the case of AC, therefore the lamp glows shinely. It is having a particular brightness. As the capacitor decreases, when capacitance of the capacitor is decreased, what about the capacitive reactance? It is 1 upon 2 pi nu C. Capacitive reactance is inversely proportional to the capacitor. As capacitance value decreases, capacitive reactance increases. Therefore, XC is going to increase. What is XC? It is the opposition to the flow of current. Therefore, obviously, current in the circuit decreases. Therefore, current I, it is going to decrease in the circuit, and hence, what about the glow? That lamp brightness decreases. It decreases, brightness decreases. Initially, it is having a higher brightness. As and when the capacitance value is decreased, according to this relation, capacitive reactance increases. Obviously, it is the opposition to the flow of current. Therefore, current going to decrease, and hence lamp brightness goes on decreases. Next problem. A 15 microfarad capacitor is connected to a 220 volt 50 hertz source. Find the capacitive reactance and the current RMS and peak value in the circuit. If the frequency is doubled, what happens to the capacitive reactance and the current? Now, simple problem solution. Given 220 volts, it is the RMS value of the voltage. Vrms is equal to 220 volts. And frequency is given, nu is equal to 50 hertz. Frequency of AC is given. Now we have to calculate capacitive reactance, and capacitance is given 15 microfarad. 15 microfarad. Micro means how much? It is 10 to the power of -6 farad. Now we have to calculate capacitive reactance XC and the RMS value of current IRMS and peak value of current IM we have to calculate. Now if you double the frequency, what will happen to the capacitive reactance and inductive reactance? That is new frequency, nu dash is equal to 2 times nu. Now we have to calculate XC dash, I dash, if I write, that we have to work out. Okay. Now capacitive reactance is given by XC is equal to 1 upon 2 pi nu into C. That is equal to 1 divided by 2 into 3.14 into frequency 50 hertz into capacitance. It is 15 into 10 to the power of -6. Therefore, X is equal to 1 upon, using the calculator. Now 50 into 2, it becomes 100. 10 raised to 2, 10 raised to -6. Therefore, I will get 10 raised to -4 in the denominator. Rest of the thing I am multiplying. 3.14 into 15. 3.14 into 15. I am getting 47 0.1. This 50 into 2, it is 100, 10 raised to plus 2, 10 raised to minus 6, therefore 10 raised to minus 4. Now I will calculate 1 divided by 47.1, that I am getting xc is equal to 0.02123 into 10 to the power of minus 4 numerator hodre it becomes plus 4. If I further simplify this one, now further simplification 1, 2, 3, 4, therefore xc is equal to 212.3 or 212 ohms. Xc is equal to 212 ohms I am getting. Now I have to calculate IRMS value, that is equal to VRMS divided by XC. Now VRMS is 220 divided by 212. Therefore IRMS is equal to 220 divided by 212. I am getting 1.04 amps of RMS value of current. Now I have to calculate peak value. We have IRMS is equal to peak value Im by root 2. Therefore, Im we have to calculate. It is root 2 into I RMS value. Root 2 is 1.41 into RMS value, just we have calculated 1.04. Therefore, peak value of current is 1.41 into 1.04. I am getting 1.47 amps. This is the peak value of the current. Next we have to calculate. Now the frequency is doubled. As frequency is doubled, look here. In the XC, denominator we are having the frequency. As frequency is doubled, what about the capacitive reactance is halved. As mu is doubled, XC becomes half of the initial value. XC or XC dash becomes half of the initial value. Therefore, XC dash is equal to XC by 2, that is equal to 212 by 2. I am getting 106 ohms when the frequency is doubled. Obviously, what is the corresponding current? Since XC is decreased, it is halved, the current value is also doubled. Since the capacitive reactance is halved, the current also doubles. That means IRMS becomes 1.04 into 2, that is 2.08, and peak value becomes 1.47 into 2, that is 2.94 amps ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So therefore new value of IRMS, that is IRMS dash, here becomes 2.08 amps, and I peak value dash becomes 2.94 amps ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Next problem, a light bulb and an open coil inductor are connected to an AC source through a key as shown in the diagram. The switch is closed and after some time an iron rod is inserted into the interior of the inductor. The glow of the light bulb increases, A, B, decreases or unchanged. Give reason. They have an inductor connected to a bulb in series and it is connected to an AC source along with a key. Okay. After some time, they are going to introduce an soft iron rod inside the inductor. Now, what will happen to the brightness of the bulb? A increases, B decreases or unchanged. What is your answer? And give with an reason. Now initially, as and when the switch is closed, there is a current flowing through that circuit. Obviously the bulb glows. It glows with a certain brightness. As and when the soft iron rod is introduced inside this coil, whenever I will introduce a rod here, soft iron rod, what happens to the magnetic field inside the coil? Take the example of a solenoid. In the case of a solenoid, if I introduce a soft iron rod, the magnetic field increases. The magnetic field inside the coil increases. Now this increase in magnetic field, that magnetic field is increased. This increased magnetic field further increases the inductance of the coil. This further increases the inductance of the coil. As inductance is increased, what about the inductive reactance? XL is equal to 2 pi nu L. As L increases, this XL also, inductive reactance is also increases. As inductive reactance is increased, whatever the voltage we have applied, a large amount of voltage is dropped across the inductor. A small amount of voltage is available across the bulb. Because here inductive reactance is increasing, therefore the voltage drop across the inductor, it goes on increases. Voltage drop across VL, it increases. What is the voltage across the bulb? It going to decrease. So bulb voltage decrease ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ voltage increase ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಯಾಕೆ? L increase ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ. So because of that one, since here the voltage across the bulb is decreasing, the brightness of the bulb decreases. It is going to decrease.